Para nosotros los Embera,
For we, Embera, the earth is like a mother.
como una persona.
Y en el río es la vida que
The
nos
river
da,
gives us
porque
life
es
because
la
its pure
cura
waters
que
nourish
nos
us.
alimenta.
Siempre
We depend on the river because without water there is no life. That's why the river is so important to us.
importante.
The tributaries of the Upper Sinu River, here in the last remaining rainforest of the Caribbean coast of Colombia, are the ancestral home of the Embera Katio indigenous nation.
Life here at the edge of the river has been very good to us. We've been very happy. The plants that grow here were handed down to us by our ancestors.
This land is also home to the richest diversity of plants and animals found anywhere in the world. Embera culture and spirituality is deeply rooted in the river and all its teeming life. Their survival depends on it.
Ese río era mucho pescado. Cogíamos unos 50
This river used to
hasta
be
100
full of different species of
para
fish.
poder
We used to
comer y
catch
quedarse
50
3,
to
4 días
100
con eso.
fish at a time,
El
and
cambio, la
that would
tierra
feed our family for days.
da producto. Todo
The
lo que
land
yo
is also
quiero
fertile.
hacerlo,
When we
sembrar,
plant
ahí
our
está.
crops, they bear
Entonces,
fruit,
esa fruta
and they harvest
yo
feed my people.
utilizo para mi gente.
These days, Kimy Pernia has no time for planting or harvesting. His vision and leadership are needed to confront a dangerous threat to his people. 4 years ago, the Ura 1 hydroelectric megaproject was built downstream by a consortium of Colombian and international investors, including Canada's Export Development Corporation. Ura received loans of more than $25 million from the Canadian Crown Corporation in support of work on the project by a Canadian company. This dam and the reservoir, created to feed the turbines, are flooding Embera lands. Yet Ura and the Export Development Corporation never consulted the Embera Katio before construction began, in flagrant violation of the Colombian Constitution and international treaties.
I felt like crying when I saw our river, which is no longer running, the water stagnant. I said to myself, our father is dead. Now we're going to die of hunger and sadness.
This entire area across the river is a field of plantain for the collective use of the community. Soon it will be underwater. This is very serious because this crop is an important source of food. When this land is flooded, there will be nothing left for our people to eat.
Water is rising under our house. It's no longer safe to live here, so we had to take the house down so we can use the timber to build a new one higher up.
We are being forced to move to higher ground. Many plants that grow by the river's edge don't grow higher up, and we need those plants. This will be a huge loss for us.
Ura told us the dam would bring electricity and development for all, but we haven't seen any development here. The only thing the dam has brought is destruction, destruction of the environment, destruction of our way of life, and death for our people. What kind of development is that?
To build the dam, they erect a huge wall that cuts the Sinu River in half. Now the fish can get past the wall to lay their eggs upriver. So there is no fish left in the tributaries above the dam.
You go to fish and there is nothing to catch. Or if you're lucky, maybe you'll catch something, but it's only this tiny. And that's not enough to feed everybody. The kids are always crying because they're hungry. Sometimes we old people don't eat in order to give what we have to the children.
There is no fish left now, and we are suffering because we have no protein anymore. Just plantains and a few chickens for the eggs.
The loss of fish and protein in people's diets has been fatal. The result is widespread malnutrition, making people vulnerable to diseases, which used to be easy to control, but not anymore.
People have died because of the effects of malnutrition. They become anemic, and we are seeing other similar health problems over and over again. In the last 8 months alone, 4 infants died under the age of 1 year.
It's not only the lack of fish that's causing serious health problems for the Embera Katio. The dam has turned fast-running rivers into vast areas of stagnant water, and that has brought mosquitoes, mosquito bites, dengue, and malaria.
There are so many mosquitoes now, which we didn't have before. We are being eaten alive.
Tengo 10 días que estoy enferma.
I've been very sick for more than 10 days with a fever, headaches, stomachache, pain in my bones. I feel really terrible. Nobody here ever got malaria before, but we're getting it now, a lot, because of the dam.
Malaria can be fatal, but so too is speaking out against the Ura Dam. Embera health worker Lucindo Domico was vocal in his criticism. He was shot to death in front of his home.
They killed my son because he defended Embera territory and the Embera people. He spoke up because he believed Ura should not make it impossible for us to stay on the land where we were born.
4 of our leaders has been killed so far. We are convinced the order came from those who wanted to silence their opposition to the dam. Other Embera leaders, including myself, we too have received their threats.
But the Embera Katio refused to be silenced. When their land began to be flooded, they came here to the capital and camped outside the Environment Ministry for 4 months, demanding to be heard, mobilizing international support. As these Embera families maintained their vigil, concerned Canadians also called for justice. Finally, a settlement was reached that includes damage compensation, new land, and the suspension of plans for Ura II, a second and bigger hydroelectric dam, which would flood even more Embera land.
We appear to have won an agreement, but it's only a piece of paper at the moment. In reality, we haven't received anything yet, so our struggle continues.
The Embera Katio hope that struggle will serve to ensure that the policies responsible for the destruction of their land and livelihood are not repeated.
It's not just about us, Embera, but for our brothers and sisters in so many other countries. We say investment should not be allowed to damage indigenous lands and cultures. This is our message because we are really suffering here.
Indigenous peoples need to be respected, because how can it be that foreign companies invest here and then afterwards we have worse problems than before? Maybe it doesn't affect you, but it's very serious for us. It's our people who are dying.